I don't feel like she get the education that we want her to. For her to be able to go offline school, she's kind of scared and afraid because she thinks it's different.
So we're going to continue our conversation now, but more focus on what happens when an Indonesian has been overseas for a while and returning back. And so for this segment, we're being joined by Ibu Divina. Before we continue, please introduce yourself and where were you overseas and when did you come back, to give us a little bit of background.
Sure. My name is Divina. Thanks for having me. I used to live in Pittsburgh, USA for 19 years, and then I went back home in November 2021. So it's almost 3 years. Actually, it's already 3 years.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Initially, what was the reason for going overseas to the States?
Well, one of the reasons, my best friend lived there already. So she keeps telling me, why don't you just come here, try to get a job here, try to make money here. And then at that time, my youngest brother had to go to Germany for school. So I kind of, my parents need my help to support him, for his just living cost. I know school is free over there in Germany at that time. So this is why I went. Just try to help my parents make some money,
Patrice, in your knowledge, what is probably the biggest reason why Indonesians would choose to go overseas?
There are many reasons actually. It's always Indonesians most of the time knows overseas from the movies.
Yes.
We know about the US from the movie. And we know from, about Europe from the movies that we saw and from what people said here. And then some will, idolize and going to all this, nicer place, right? And, some get bored here and they want to venture out and try something new. And, for whatever reason, some financial education is most common. They want to pursue a higher education, right? Mm-hmm. For those that wants to have a higher education. And multiple reasons, actually, for why Indonesians wants to go abroad. In my case, I think my family were just so happy.
Okay. And once you arrived, did your perception change? You're both in the States. Did your perception change when you arrived?
When I arrived, my perception changed. Well, I, at the time, already knew it will be different. So I kind of know this will be different, a different experience, different. And then I have perception change when I use my experience of watching TV about what America is, and then of what the reality is, right? So, and that changed quite fast.
Okay. Divina, did you have a glamorized impression of the States before you arrived, or were you pretty practical as to what you were getting into?
Because of Ade, she helped me a lot, because everything you have to do it yourself. You cannot ask your maid again to get you this and that to do laundry, but over time, I get used to it. I love it, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's challenging for me, but I love the challenges.
So you were kind of briefed by your friend that was already there to say, okay, this is what we're going to expect. Yeah. But you were okay with it?
Yes.
Okay.
I was okay with that.
So you were in the States for quite a while, and you've adapted some of the culture that was in the States. What are some of the examples that you can share with us that your culture changed because of your time in the U.S.?
How people throw away garbage. My friend, every time he smokes, he just throw the garbage outside, Yeah. For me, I still, even little things or tissue, I just can't, why don't you just, I'd rather put the garbage in the car first and then I throw it later. when I get home or something, that kind of stuff. And then following the rules too. There's always this, like we went to this road and then there's a sign, you can't go, but some of them are just whatever. I don't care what they say. They're probably like, sometimes they're like, what are you doing closing this road? Is it their road? It's not. I can just go. But it says over there, you can't go. But, they're just okay by not obeying rules.
Would you dare to do that in the U.S.?
I'm afraid.
Why?
Because sometimes cops are just camera, one thing, they have camera everywhere. And just the cops can just come, get you. And then the fine over there, it's not, it's not
cheap.
fun.
Chris, maybe you can elaborate about this, about how, when there is a repercussion for your action, and it, like in the States, that there is going to be a repercussion for this. If you throw something on the street, or if you break the traffic rules or whatever, there is going to be a repercussion, and you're not going to be able to talk your way out of this.
Nope.
How does that change with these two cultures, for example, following the rules versus the rules maybe for somebody else, not me?
This is always a tricky thing, and we have a more pragmatic perspective of looking at rules and regulations, and the other one is more linear. It's like, you break this, you paid. That's but and then what do you do, right? What do you do? Like, is this how you gauge the level of civilization? Right? I mean, if you do not have a means or a mechanism to regulate how you throw your garbage, right? Then you cannot learn it yourself that, maybe that's not a good thing to do, so you should just keep it and properly dispose of your garbage. But it's a sensitive issue to discuss and to let people know. Okay, civilized people do it like this. You uncivilized people, okay, we understand. Then it's very negative from that perspective. But I think we need to be able to see what's good. What's good about having a mechanism or rules that will make everybody's life better, for example, or the environment better, or if it's better for you to have a clean environment, clean street, to have predictable traffic, I mean, if that's better, maybe we should try that. But is it better to be just random, do as you wish, this is freedom? Then we come to this discussion of, what is freedom? I mean, in America, they say we have a freedom. But in Indonesia, we said we also have freedom. We can throw our garbage anywhere. That's freedom. We can do all these things, and that's freedom. And you find people when you do that. What's freedom about that? I guess the society needs to regulate and say, okay, this is how we are going to live, and then society needs to decide.
So it comes down to a personal choice of doing the right thing.
Yes.
Davina, you're back in Indonesia. Do you feel uncomfortable in Indonesia?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
So we have to register our marriage in KUA, and then it took me, I needed to go to 3 KUA to get it fixed, to get a deal, because they ask for money. Yeah, a lot of money. And that's not easy for us. Why do we have to pay? We have the paperwork, everything from Kedutaan Amerika. We have our marriage certificate. We have everything. You just need to register it in the KUA. What's the big deal? Because without it, I cannot sponsor him for kitas. So this the basic thing that I have to do.
When we're talking about working culture in, say, America, for example, versus working culture here, the biggest differences, and people, Indonesians coming back to work in an Indonesian working culture, what are the biggest adjustments, the pain points for a returning Indonesian to work in an Indonesian office environment?
Again, again and again, I heard that, they're not the same anymore, you know. And actually, the Indonesian colleagues say the same thing about the incoming. So he's not the same anymore. He's been trained differently. He's not Indonesian anymore. Again, simple example will be directness and non-directness. For example, openness is a different. How do you discuss in a working environment? There is a hierarchy, you know, and you cannot challenge, right, the hierarchy, and whatever the boss says goes, right? And this sometimes is a problem where the foreign educated person coming back, and he or she may feel that he should speak up, right? But then that's not always a good thing. So I think when comes with same Indonesians, but one is used to working overseas or foreign educated, and the other one mostly local, I think there needs to be, again, communication, openness. They say, okay, here's how we do things, not to say this is the right thing or your way is a bad thing.
Right.
We know how to do it this way. Do you have any idea how to do this better? And let's define what better is, right? I mean,
Or a younger manager managing an older person.
well, that can be a big problem. But I think that's a problem no matter what, right? Whether you're foreign or not foreign graduates, you know, local graduate with a local graduate, the boss is younger, and that can be a problem. But again, it's also, you know, a culture, you know, and again, I would encourage openness in communications.
Yeah. So sometimes when people come back and then they are readjusting to their life here, they're thinking, okay, maybe I don't fit here anymore, or I would be more comfortable in another country. You're thinking that at the moment?
Yes.
Why? What is the reasoning behind that?
For my daughter, basically, the most important thing, because I don't feel like she get the education that we want her to. When we came home, it was COVID time, so she did online school. Until now, actually, she's still doing it. For her to be able to go offline school, she's kind of scared and afraid because she thinks it's different. Because I'm not, you know, she said, I look different. You know, she feels like whenever she goes to the mall, she feels like people pay attention to her because she's different. That's what she thinks. But I told her, I mean, you know, I don't think everybody will look at you like that, you know?
Right.
But so the adjustment for her is really tough too. That's why I want to try to go to find, you know, to move to different country is basically for her. And in the in US, we pay nothing for school until we're done, until grade 12, right?
Right.
We pay nothing.
Yeah.
So over here, if you wanna, I cannot send my daughter to, let's say, sekolah dasar negeri or sekolah, sekolah negeri. It will be tough for her too, the communication. She understands bahasa, but she doesn't really want to speak bahasa.
Right.
She can actually if she wants to.
Yeah.
It's just something's holding her back, you know.
What is that?
Because if she speaks bahasa, there will be accent, and people will say, oh, you know, like it will be a big thing for.
It's beautiful.
I told her it's okay. You just can speak with your accent, you know. But it's tough for her, you know, because everybody says, oh my God, Chala, look at the way Chala speaks, you know. It's so lucu, this and that, you know. That's what they said. So she feels embarrassed. She feels like, why, you know? Why do they have to do that? So it's tough. So in order for her to go to offline school, I gotta send her to, of course, at least international, or what do you call it here?
National class.
Yes, national class or intercultural, and it costs a lot of money. Yes.
So I think that's one of the struggles with Indonesian families is that the education cost is not in line with the
That's right.
salaries in Indonesia, unfortunately.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Patrice, if somebody is relocating, integrating back into Indonesia, there's going to be issues, whether it be family issues, education issues, adjustment issues. What type of supporting services are there for repatriating Indonesians?
I think talking to people with similar experience helps. I'm not sure if there is any formal agency that handles it, but like I said, the re-entry training, re-entry orientation, if you will help.
Yeah.
And talking to people, managing expectations, and don't assume that just because you're going back to your home country that everything will be the same. Simple things such as the garbage idea and the KUA experience and all that, right? Yeah. And the school experience and the accent, Indonesian in Indonesia speaking with an accent that can be seen not funny, but different, right?
Right.
But they're excited.
Yes, it's an attractive value, but somewhat annoying on the other side, right? So yeah, these are the things that you need to be familiar with, especially if you come back here and you bring mixed children. They will experience all.
Of course. So, I mean, some people that have had school overseas, they've worked overseas, they're coming back with experience. How can those experiences help them to reintegrate into Indonesia? So whether it be in the work vicinity or whether it be in their personal lives or whatever, how can they take advantage? Now they have two perspectives of culture. How can that benefit them?
Yes, this is, I've seen issues with this times after times. The incoming feels like I know better now, so I want you guys to see how we can do this better, right? And the locals will say, oh, no, not really. This is how we do it.
Right.
This is how it works. Yes. So this can cause a problem. I would encourage people, before you exert yourself with these ideas,
Yeah.
you might want to just talk about it, be open, communicate, says, hey, we know, I learned about how to reach that objective by doing this. This is what I learned over there. Here's how they do it there. I don't know if this will work here or not, but this is what I've learned. And just be open and communicate that ideas to the locals. And I would suggest to the locals to hear them out. Yeah, listen to these different ideas, because resistance to change and different ideas can cause, confrontations in a workplace. So just, okay, how do you suggest we do this differently and better? And then, but the one the one that comes with that ideas also needs to understand that maybe it's not a good idea after all. That's okay too.
Yeah.
Right. So openness to communicate it and willingness to listen to the different ideas will help. And then ultimately, build a consensus in which everybody can see that, okay, if we do it this way, not totally 100% local way, but not totally 100% foreign way,
right,
we can get our objective efficiently.
Right.
If you can establish that, I think we're golden, we're good.
Yeah. So to find the hybrid.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
If we have a company or a government institution, they're repatriating the Indonesians. Hopefully, they're encouraging the Indonesians to come back, build Indonesia, make Indonesia take advantage of it.
Great again.
Exactly. What can the government or the institutions do to support these people coming back?
How do you make them the people, the Indonesians abroad, make them feel comfortable of coming back here? There are many things you could do, actually. Many things you could do. These guys needs to see that they can come here and be trusted, right? If they can come here, but they're going to take advantage of, now that's a different story. Then you'll have resistance against those. Now, how do you do that? It depends on what you're doing, right? So, but the Indonesians need to trust that these incoming Indonesians are coming in here not to change the way we do our life, but you're coming here with ideas that can make our life better, which is fine. A lot of discussion now for the diaspora is financial.
Right.
Come here, bring all your money, live here, let's build the country. Well, okay. Ideals aside, patriotism aside, we need to discuss what's the win-win here, right? Because I come back to Indonesia because I thought, well, there are so many things I could do here to help out, and this is how I'm going to help out. And then I check, and then I say, okay, here's where we can help, and without me or my wife losing our identity, right? So we find that win-win areas that we can operate in and feel comfortable about. And the government should not just encourage people to come here, but show them what's the benefit. Forget about financials and whatnot, but how does Indonesian that lives abroad come back here and feel comfortable? It's that it's non-threatening. What if the Indonesian that comes here, like her, for example, like so many other people, have a spouse that's non-Indonesian? How do you deal with that? How do you make the spouse of the Indonesian coming home feel at home, feel better? What if the spouse says, why we go to Indonesia? Why don't we go to my country, be that the Middle East or the European or whatever, right? And why we have to do that, right? So unless there is a benefit, unless there is more attention being paid to the spouse, and just go beyond the financial and the obvious stuff. Just go beyond that. How do you ensure that if I'm an Indonesian living abroad, so used to living abroad, so used to the system over there, and everything, the financials, the regulations, etc., the following the rules and all that, right? And then you ask them to come here, and then foreign investments, right? So we come, bring your money, and etc. How does the government do to prepare government agencies, right, to help with these guys? Because like she said, I had no idea it takes so much paperwork and so much effort just to register my wedding certificate, And what if I apply for a business? What kind of challenge would that be? What if I want to apply for a loan for a house? What if I want to do all these things? What kind of challenge would that be? What kind of help is available? I think the government should pay attention to that and making sure that the incoming Indonesians will feel comfortable coming in Indonesia, and that they get an understanding from all the government agencies that these diaspora people, we need to make them feel welcome, so that keep coming, and with that bring any other benefits like financial benefits, whatever. But stop talking about financial benefit first. Oh, bring here your money. Well then, I also need to be comfortable. What do you do about that? So these are the kind of things that, to answer your questions, can the society do something so the diaspora can be successful? Yes, plenty. Government plays a big role in it, yes.
Okay, so ease the regulations, but take advantage of the diversity so that everybody can benefit.
Yeah, yes.
I want to thank you both for a very interesting conversation. Your perspectives have both been very, very interesting, and hope we can have similar conversations in the future.
Yes, happy.
Thank you.